Hello everyone. So today's video will be for class 11th, okay, and it is a microeconomics concept. So from today onwards we will see the chapter concept of cost, okay. So first of all, what is cost? It is simple word which we all see, which we all use in our daily life, okay. So cost means the expenditure, okay, or we say in Hindi it is called lagat. The proper word for Hindi students is lagat, okay, and in English we call it cost. So it is the expenditure, okay, expenditure made by the producer, which a producer spend on factor as well as non-factor inputs, okay. Why? For producing the good, for producing a product, okay. So what is cost? By definition, it is the expenditure incurred by a producer on factors as well as non-factor inputs for a given amount of output of a commodity, okay. So when a person is spending some amount of money for producing a particular commodity, that amount will be called cost, okay. And this cost is divided into two parts, non-factor and factor inputs. So from this cost only the two new things are coming out here. First is non-factor inputs and second is factor inputs. So what are factor inputs? First we will see factor inputs, okay. So what are factor inputs? Those goods, those things which are directly used in the process of production. Means when we are producing something, so we require few things: raw material, labor, etc. So those things which are directly involved in the production, okay. Like as I said, if we are producing a packet of biscuit, so first we require labor, okay, then we require the flour or wheat. So these are the two basic, these are the examples. There might be other examples also, but these are the basic examples for producing packet of biscuit. So these are the factors, or these are the inputs which we require directly for producing a biscuit, okay. And what are non-factor? Which are used indirectly, which are not directly required but indirectly they are helping in process of production. Those are called non-factor inputs. And factor inputs directly help a producer in producing a good. Like electricity is indirectly helping in the process of production, okay. But the raw material, the wheat, the labor, these are directly helping in process of production. So those goods which directly help, they are called factor inputs, and those goods which indirectly help are called non-factor inputs, okay. So we have seen the definition of cost, okay, and from this definition we found two new things: factor inputs and non-factor inputs. Now the next thing is types of cost, okay. Earlier we saw the cost. Now there are many types of cost which a producer uses or which are incurred, but we don't what we can say, we don't classify them basically in our life. We don't classify them, but in economics we are classifying those costs. So first is total fixed cost, or it is also called fixed cost. So in exam, don't get confused. It is called total fixed cost and fixed cost. These are the same thing, okay. It can be written fixed cost also, it can be written total fixed cost, So the payments made by producer on fixed factor. Okay, the payments made by the producer on a fixed factor means fixed assets like machinery, labor, sorry, not labor, machinery, building. Okay, these are the fixed. We cannot change these in a short period of time. In a long period we can change, but in a short period of time we cannot change these inputs. We cannot change building, we cannot change machinery in a short period when we have less than 1 year. Okay, so when we purchase or we spend money on these assets, then it is called fixed cost or total fixed cost. Okay, so how, and the amount, as from the name itself we can see the amount will be fixed, whether we are producing zero output, whether we are producing one packet of biscuit, whether we are producing 2 packets of biscuit, the amount will be same, whether we are producing 0 or whether we are producing 5 packets. The amount, the expenditure on fixed assets will be fixed, inputs will be same. Okay, so and how we will make the graph here? We can see it is a horizontal line. Okay, because the amount is fixed, the cost, the expenditure is fixed. Okay, so it there are few other names as well for TFC. It is, in short, we call it TFC. Okay, so it is also called supplementary cost, it is also called general cost, it is also called unavoidable. And why it is called unavoidable? Because when whether we are making, whether we are producing or not, whether we have started producing or not, but before producing the expenditure is incurred, the amount is paid on fixed expenditure. Okay, you have not purchased the raw material, you have not hired the laborers, but before that you have purchased the land, you have purchased the machinery, you have purchased the building. Okay, you have spent the money on these fixed assets, but you have not spent the money on the labor or raw material. So before production this expenditure is required, so that's why it is called unavoidable. You cannot avoid this. Okay, if you are not hiring the labor or raw material, you are doing it by self. Okay, you are producing by yourself, then also this cost is incurred for space or for machinery, for tools, etc. Okay, so that's why this is unavoidable cost. Now second is variable cost. Okay, now what is variable? Variable means the cost that keeps on changing, that cost which keeps on changing, whether you produce 0 output, you produce 2 outputs, you produce 6 outputs, the cost will keep on changing. Okay, so the payments which are made by the producer on variable factor, sorry, it is written fixed factor, it is here, it is variable factor during the process of production. Okay, so which the expenditure on those factor which could be changed. Okay, suppose for example you have hired 10 persons today. Okay, and tomorrow you can fire 5 of them, or you can add 5 extra. So the cost, the money which you are spending on wages, you can change them. The factors, the variable factors, you can change them. Okay, so the cost incurred on variable factors, the cost incurred on variable factors is called total variable cost, and this is changing. From the name itself we can see variable, because we can change the variable factors at any point of time. Today you have 10 laborers, tomorrow you can hire 5, and day after tomorrow you can hire 100. So the variable factors could be changed, the raw materials could be changed, the quantity of that. So the expenditure incurred on hiring those factors is called total variable cost. Okay, so it is the primary cost, basic requirement. It is avoidable, you can avoid. Okay, and it is called direct cost also. So from the table itself we can see the amount. This is the output and this is the cost incurred. So when the output increases, TVC also increases. So the graph is like this. Okay, so remember this one thing which I said, when the output increases, the total variable cost also increases. But earlier in total fixed cost, the output was increasing but the fixed cost was fixed. Okay, but in TVC the cost will be increasing as the output increases. Okay, so this was the total variable cost. Now next is total cost. Okay, as I said earlier, what is cost? Lagat. Okay, so the expenditure incurred on fixed assets and variable assets. So we will add both the fixed cost and the variable cost. By adding these two, we will get total cost. Okay, the expenditure, the amount paid for hiring the fixed factor and for hiring the variable factor. So we will add both amount and we will get the total cost. So the TFC will be same here, the TVC will be increasing, and by adding these two we will get total cost. So one thing which we have to see here, it might come in your MCQ or 1 mark question. When output is 0, TFC will be 0. When output is 0, then sorry, it is not TFC, it is TVC. Make the correction, it is not TFC, it is TVC. So when your output is 0, TVC will be 0. Okay, but TFC will be some amount. TFC will be there. You have to spend money on fixed factor before spending on variable factor. Okay, so this might come in your exam in 1 mark, so remember this thing. Okay, this is important. And how the graph is not important, but you can see the graph. So the main thing in these types is the numerical here. Definition is important, but in your exam, from exam point of view, the numerical is important. So if you are watching this, then and making a note also, so write the formulas. Okay, write the formulas also, because from this topic one numerical will be there in your exam. It could be either in 3 marks, it could be either in 4 marks, but numerical will be there. So write the formulas and the basic things which I am telling you, like this one. Okay, and this is TVC, not TFC. So this was the total cost. Next is average fixed cost. Okay, when we say average, it means we are talking about per unit, the fixed cost per unit of output. Okay, when we are producing one output, one packet of biscuit, then for producing that one particular packet, the expenditure, the amount which we are giving for which we are spending on fixed factor, that amount will be average fixed cost. Suppose for example we have produced 10 units of output. Like suppose we I'll give you example from this. We have produced 3 units of output. Okay, and in 3 units, by producing 3 units, we spend 100 rupees on fixed cost. Okay, so for producing 3 packets of biscuit, we spend 100 rupees. So for producing one packet of biscuit, how many rupees we will spend? We will spend 33.33 rupees. So this 33.33 is the average fixed cost. Okay, so whenever we say the average fixed cost or the average variable cost, it means the amount spent for producing one unit of commodity. Okay, here in this case I'm saying one packet of biscuit for make it easier to understand. Okay, so and what will be the formula here? This will be the formula. So AFC equals to total divided by quantity. So 100 divided by 3, we will get 33.33. Okay, so how you will find the average fixed cost? By dividing TFC and quantity. Q means output. This Q is output. Okay, now the one more thing here which could come in 1 mark question, which is the shape. The shape of AFC is a rectangular hyperbola. You might have studied in 10th class in mathematics. Okay, so the shape, it could be asked in 1 mark that what is the shape of AFC? What is the shape of average fixed cost? So it is rectangular hyperbola. Why it is a rectangular hyperbola? Because TFC is constant at all levels of output. As we can see here, it is when we are producing 0, then also it is 100, and when we are producing 6 units, then also it is 100. So what is the shape? It is rectangular hyperbola. And why? Because TFC is constant at all levels of output. This is the reason. Okay, so mark this one and you can write this. It might come in your exam in 1 mark. Okay, so this was average fixed cost. In the same way, we have average variable cost. So what it means? It is the same thing. The amount spent on variable cost for producing one unit. Like here we have produced 7 units. Okay, so and for producing 7 units we spend 46 rupees. So for producing 1 unit, how much money we will spend? We will spend 6.6 rupees. Okay, so it is the same thing, but here we are saying variable cost. Okay, so the amount spent on one variable factor for producing a commodity. Okay, so what will be the definition here? The variable cost per unit of output. This will be the definition, but definition is not important here. The important thing is the shape of diagram and the formula. So the formula is TVC divided by Q, total divided by output or quantity. You will get the average. Okay, and what is the shape? Shape is U shape. Okay, what is the shape of average fixed cost, average variable cost? It is U shaped. So this might come in your exam in 1 mark. Okay, now the average cost, and you can see here the reason why it is U shaped here. The average variable cost is U shaped. This is in accordance with the law of variable proportion. Okay, this is the reason for having the U-shaped AVC. Now the second and last type of cost is average cost. So it is the same thing like as we have seen earlier, the total cost. In the same way, it is average cost, means average fixed cost plus average variable cost. Okay, or one more formula here, total cost divided by Q. So these are the two formulas for the same thing. You can use whichever you like according to the question. Okay, so what is the shape of average cost? It is also U-shaped because of the law of variable proportion. So it is a sum total of average fixed cost and average variable cost. So these are the types of cost, and the numerical is very important. It could be come in 3 marks, it could be asked in 4 marks. So it is not the matter of marks, but the numerical, the practice is important. So using these formula you can practice. Numericals will be given in might be given in your textbooks, so practice the numericals, okay, using these formulas and the basic 1 mark things which I have told you. You have to remember those things, okay. So this is all for today.